Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's the e-commerce minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart, Mroz, and John Suder. The e-commerce minute is a production of SUMO Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com.
It's e-commerce minute episode 647.
In today's episode, Macys Retooling includes the closure of 125 stores.
As department stores continue to keep up with the digital age through various e-commerce expansions and partnerships with startups, e-commerce continues to push back. Despite the fact that Macy's has been doing things like utilizing Pinterest campaigns and partnering with ThredUp, the online consignment store popular among millennial and Gen Z shoppers, things still haven't been going great for the brick and mortar locations. This is why their latest store closure announcement isn't terribly surprising. Macy's recently announced its plans to close 125 of its least productive stores over the next 3 years to tackle slowing mall traffic. The closures will cut more than 2,000 corporate jobs as a part of a cost savings effort. After all is said and done, the move should generate an annual gross savings of about $1.5 billion with a B, fully realized by the end of 2022. Costs of executing the changes will be about $450 to $490 million, mostly recorded in 2019. The strategy also includes abandoning Macy's Cincinnati headquarters and maintaining a sole head office in New York City, home to its Herald Square flagship store. Its Macys.com e-commerce office in San Francisco will also close and shift to New York, with much of its tech operations moving to an expanded presence in Atlanta. Macy's also said that customer service hubs at other facilities will close and be consolidated. Macy's chief executive Jeff Jeanette told analysts that while weaker malls will go away, there is a large collection of malls that are doing well. He said developers are now looking at ways to improve the best malls by adding more food and entertainment. Nevertheless, the retailer is testing a new concept that will take it out of malls by opening smaller stores in strip centers where more people are shopping. And it's continuing to look for profits from its real estate, including an office tower that it plans to build on top of its Herald Square flagship store in New York City. However, in addition to roughly 400 Macy's stores, the company will continue to operate about 40 Bloomingdale stores and the Blue Mercury beauty chain, which has roughly 170 locations. It has also opened 216 Macy's Backstage off-price stores, most of which are located inside its namesake department stores. That's depressing.
I'd be interested to see if the Macy's in Philadelphia counts as one of the least productive stores that they're cutting, because the Macy's in Philadelphia is literally like a dystopian nightmare.
The City Hall location.
Yes.
Yes, that is a dystopian, but I think that is a corner store location. I had read that there were some issues with the owner. It changed hands, but they are still going to keep it a Macy's. I could give you a history lesson about that Macy's because it used to be Wanamaker's. It used to be one of the biggest department stores in the country. That store actually plays a key role in my childhood, so I know a lot about that store. It's gotten smaller and smaller. And yes, it is a dystopian nightmare. You walk in, and that men's area is just complete chaos, and it's like
desolate. Yeah, my dad always refers to it as the Wanamaker building.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a beautiful building. They have a org in there that's been 100 years, been there for 100 years. They have a grand hall. And there's a beautiful Christmas light display that's been going on since the 50s there.
And I almost feel bad because of how nice the Christmas is. It looks so nice.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that one hangs around.
Right.
It's kind of like a marquee location, as opposed to the ones like in Oxford Valley Mall and other local locations to the Philadelphia area. But closing, I mean, we've done the stories about malls. And I think one thing that's mentioned in the script here is that some malls are actually doing great. I think a lot of it has to do with A, shopping habits, but B, location. for some reason, some malls just continue to kick ass. And I think some of the malls, and especially in some of the areas, I'll give a great example. When I was in Texas for a conference, I visited a shopping mall that kind of blew my mind because it was a new mall that was the new style of mall is very walkable. So it's not you park your car and you're going in this grand hall of stores. It's more, they set them up as shopping plazas. And then what they did, which was really cool, is they did a mix of housing. So they had these really cool hip townhouses with plenty of parking, plenty of entertainment, plenty of things to do that were integrated with the shopping. So not only do you have a built-in customer with the residents having all of these amenities and beautiful stores right near there, but people that would come to visit, and it just was a more community feel as opposed to that cold shopping mall feel.
Right.
And I think that is the trend. The other problem is we all know, we've all grown up with the large department store. And Bart said this in previous podcasts we've done, is who really wants to go shop in a giant store anymore? They want to get one thing that they're coming for, get in, get out. People's times are more valuable. It's not like the ye olden days where, your grandmother's got the whole day to kill and she's just walking around the department store all day long. I think that's, you don't really, those habits are not, I don't think we see those habits anymore.
No, it's all about the niche now.
It's all about the niche, and I want to get in, I want to get out. I'm too busy, I'm too time pressed. Let me get home and do my HelloFresh and watch my Netflix and go to bed and smoke some marijuana.
You're not wrong. And, that goes without saying, e-commerce. We know. We know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we didn't even really have to mention that, but It's e-commerce has done a number on all types of businesses, only because strictly of convenience and price. But shopping habits, I think, is something that can't be neglected. And what we keep saying is experiential is going to win. Experiential, and what I had said about these new style shopping malls, where you take an old mall and you put in a church and a gym and some apartments, and you make it a community again. And I think, and I'm going to get on my tiny little soapbox for a second, but I think that's something that's missing in society these days. We don't gather anymore. People are very, very siloed and isolated. And to take this valuable real estate and repurpose it into something where people can get together again is not a bad thing. This sucks for Macy's. I mean, I know it's an iconic chain, and I was curious to see in the script that Bloomingdale's was still around.
Right.
I thought they had gone. I had a Bloomingdale's card when I was an up-and-coming young person, and I was very proud of that I was able to get a Bloomingdale's credit card.
You know what?
I thought it was a big shot.
It's going to get to a point where it's going to be the Warby Parker Thanksgiving Day Parade.
The Warby Parker Casper Mattress Thanksgiving Day Parade.
It's
with special guest, the Glossier Turkey.
It's truly crazy. It's true. And the Amazon aardvark coming down.
The Amazon. Right.
The street. It's a shame.
Hey, we're not that far away from that, Brittany. I have news for you.
You're right. It's just, nostalgia is very important to everybody. There's nobody that doesn't love nostalgia or that feeling that the Macy's, the name in general, gives a lot of people that nostalgia. Yeah,
that's really the thing. It's people grow up with Macy's and that name, and you just thought, oh, Macy's is the big department store, or nothing can ever happen to them, and everyone's vulnerable now.
There's a lot of positive association. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I went to me and my grandparents had this thing with Macy's. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Things like that. And it's sad because that slashes memories. And it's just
Well, like I always say, nostalgia isn't what it used to be.
Boo.
Boo.
But you're right.
All right. We'll close this one up with a little stat time. Some 2,000 employees, unfortunately, will lose their jobs in the process as the company reduces its corporate and support function headcount by 9%, according to a company press release. Macy's updated its fourth quarter results, saying that comparable store sales fell 0.6% and fell 0.8% for the year ending February 1st. And finally, Macy's forecasts full-year net sales of between $23.6 billion and $23.9 billion with a B, which is below analyst average estimate of $24.36 billion, according to IBES data from Refinitiv. $24 billion, and they're still going under. What is wrong with this world? Well, if you read between the lines, it looks like they got a lot of fat that they got to cut. I mean, just this one talking point, their San Francisco e-commerce office, so you can just figure out, they're probably paying $18 million a square foot for rent on the building out there.
Right.
The fact that they're moving it from San Francisco to New York says a lot.
Yeah, that's tea. It's like Macy's make your stores smaller challenge. I don't know.
Yeah. So, well, we'll keep an eye on this one. Poor 40 yet for Macy's. I don't think they're dead yet, but they're trying. Got anything else?
Nope.
All right, that's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow.
That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media at SUMO Heavy.